Hey everybody, just doing a little sound check, making sure everything's good. We should be live, you should be able to hear us. We're just doing a player meeting right now. Let me know if you can't hear me for any reason. Just a quick sound check. So first up we have Andrew Vatland on Black White Brunhild versus Cal Tuma on Gil. Okay. There we go. That should be good. Oh, there we go. 60 minutes. Or 50 minutes, my apologies. Let me change that real quick. Should be at 50 minutes. We're not in Top Cut anymore. Andrew, you guys are good. Yep. So right off the bat, we kind of have the two really well-known decks. Oh, I just realized they're also sitting on opposite sides of the table. Then I thought, whoops, let me swap that. And then Gil and B. White Brunhild. So yeah, two really well-known players here sitting at the table. Jumping right in here with round one. I apologize if we do experience any dropped frames. We are in a little bit of a weird place internet-wise. We're trying our best. But just want to let people know what's going on here. Cal Tuma playing Gil. I know, it's not an IU deck. I was thoroughly surprised that he's decided to play something not IU. But yeah, we're just going to go ahead and start digging right in here. Looks like Gil is kind of known to be the big boogeyman of the format, really. But Black White Brunhild is probably the best suited of the altar variants to be able to handle Gil, just because of its protection. Oh, they're just getting their own little personal independent player meeting over here, it looks like. So we have 26 players here, or 25 players here, I think, in Arizona. So not a bad crowd. I've heard there's 18 players in 18 players total over in Canada this weekend. So about 45 players playing in GPs this weekend, which is pretty nice. Are we doing 50-minute rounds or 60? We are doing 60? Okay, sounds good. So we are doing 60-minute rounds. Going to do 5 rounds today, and then based on how people feel, maybe we even do Top Cut today. We'll see. Going ahead and doing our mulligans here. I will say, though, if you like what we're doing, if you want to support what we're doing here on the channel, you can go ahead and click that join button down below as we get started. It gets you access to the cool emojis that you're seeing people use in the chat, as well as those badges, and it just goes to help support the channel and what we're doing. Our goal is to try to get 10 more members by the end of the day today. You can also super chat, and we'll be showing out thanks there. So we're going to get 10 new Ruler School alumni here. So if you like what we're doing and what we're putting out here, we appreciate it, and would love to have you join up. So it looks like Gil's going to be on the draw. Not a bad position for Gil to be in, because he can potentially, he has more ability to do Absolute Awareness turn 1 if they're still doing it. I've heard some rumors that maybe some Gil players have tried to move away from Absolute Awareness just because of just a decision. Turn 1 Layla coming down right out the bat here. Just going to put up my card images here so we can start talking about cards as they come down. Obviously the big boogeyman of this format, or the big, really big, let's see, sorry. Trying to get things set up here a little bit better so I can grab cards faster for us all. The heavy hitter of ramping here for Darkness decks, we do see that turn 1 Absolute Awareness with the Energize. Unfortunately, we do mill an Elemental at the end, so that was not too bad. I'm doing pretty good, Sam, thanks. So both players kind of taking their turn 1 to ramp here. We bounced. Oh, that's a really interesting play. We bounced the Layla back with the blue leaf from Energize, and then used the blue leaf to then pay for our Absolute Awareness. So a really good play there by Cal. Andrew taking his turn 2 to play that Sacrificial Altar. banishing a Leaf Assassin that got milled. We're going to play a Insight. It's the new kind of consistency piece that Gil has been making use of recently to kind of get spirit magics to grave, as well as being able to kind of filter kind of more consistently, filter hands more consistently and cheaper. And then at the end of turn, we're looking at, we cast a Spiritual Guidance. Didn't see how much life he gained there. My apologies. We were supposed to have something, a way to update life total live from the table, but didn't happen. Layla coming down here from Andrew's side. 6. Looks like he gained 6 life. So he'll be at 46. Seeing the Power of Immortality. Layla played a ramp up here on Andrew's side. So pretty standard play from both of these players just right at the gate. Nothing too crazy outside of that blue leaf play. Just making use of those Laylas to ramp and the altar to set up. Suddenly we're sitting at 5 stones on Andrew's side, and we do have a white stone there, which is pretty good. See an Astema. Yep, that's going to come down. We only have 1 rune revealed, so it's just going to drain. It's not going to gain, but 4,100. And he's going to pay 4 to draw, so we'll go down to 36. And then at that point, we'll test the turn. So not a terrible position for either players to be in. Obviously, Gil doesn't necessarily mind having no board state. Something like a Leaf Paladin would probably be pretty good for Cal at this point. The Assassin also is really good here. It's going to target. We know he's got enough. He's got to reveal at resolution. In response, though, actually, Andrew's just going to go ahead and sacrifice it to altar just to get it out of the way. So kind of maybe even potentially a bluff from Cal, not necessarily having enough. And you'd have to have 4 elementals in grave to kill the Astema. See another Absolute Awareness. Going to go get another stone. Looks like we're going to get that Darkness Stone, I think. It's a matter of if he's... Yeah, it does look like he is playing the 1 Darkness Stone mained. Guild players have been kind of looking to play more White Stones mains just because of the heavy prevalence of darkness right now in this meta. But looks like he's actually just going to go grab another green. This matchup, I don't think the Black Stone is really necessary unless he's planning on doing Evil Elemental Uprising. But in this matchup against Brunhild, that's kind of not as necessary in the end game. Milling a Vanish here at the end, that's kind of unfortunate. See a Mana Transmuter here. Ooh, Messenger of the Sun using that 1 white. So we're going to start getting a lot of card draw here for Andrew. A Mana Transmuter here would be really, really effective. We're going to see the Freed from the Altar. So he's going to go down to 32, but he gets to draw a card and then go searching for a Darkness Resonator. Very, very good sequencing there. So any Darkness Resonator he wants, he can just go grab. I imagine, a Gene. Interesting decision here. That kind of makes sense because he has the Altar, so he can go get Altar to turn on Gene. Like, go get a 3-drop off of Altar if he needs to. Not entirely sure what the Gene is for here, other than to crash it into the Gil, I imagine, potentially. Mana Transmuter coming down here, so now we're going to start seeing extra white. We probably do have a Whispers of the Angels in the Rune deck, which is pretty good. So we're going to like pay for 300 life, gain 5, draw 2, essentially. So a pretty good start for for Andrew here. Definitely going to see how kind of Cal responds. He's got a lot of will open here at the end. There is that live altar, and we are now officially at Athenia time for the altar, but Andrew has to be really careful because Cal... Hopefully it should come back. I did see some dropped frames here. I'm kind of monitoring it. People, it should come back. Just let me know. Okay, yeah, we might have these little hiccups every now and then, guys. Just refresh the page. Um, if it does start to drop, we are going to see a Judgmented Gill come down here. I am monitoring the dropped frames as best as I can, so hopefully we don't have any issues there. Or if the issues are as fast as possible. So another spiritual guidance coming down here. Trying to see how much he gained off the spiritual guidance. Hey Cal, how much did you gain off that spiritual guidance? Thank you. There we go. So, so we're seeing the play here, like I said, with the Whispers of the Angel. We're going to pay 3, then gain 8, go up to 37. And Whispers of the Angel doing a lot of work there. Ton of will open for Andrew here. We do have a flipped Gill. Down comes the Jean, who is the nice little answer to Gill here, being able to potentially kill her. Probably just serving as a blocker at this point in time to be able to tell Gill that he's not going to be able to swing through, or else he's going to risk getting hit with some counters. Seeing a Vanish get cast to cancel the Jean, and then we're just going to see an Awakened. So that's a really good play here. So we wasted the Vanish here. Now we're going to see an Awakened March of the Dead, so we can go grab Astima and oh, I can't get Astima. Sorry, you're going to see Layla plus Jean here. So now suddenly Jean is live again, and we can swing in, taking him down to 42. We might have little hiccups with the Wi-Fi over time, guys. The best way to answer it is just to, it's just serving as dropped frames on our end, so it might go down. The easiest way to just is to keep refreshing until it pops back in, because at least at our end, we're not seeing any drop of transmission. It's just dropping frames. So that's just going to happen every now and then. We're trying our best. We're working off of a Wi-Fi hotspot on a phone just because of the nature of the internet here, but. Yeah, so Jean's here. We've got a altar with 3 counters on it. We can go get an altar. Potentially, we have a Layla to turn it up to 4 counters. Lots of options here for Andrew. He just has to be really careful because we have a lot of cards in Cal's hands, and very certainly some of them are Lorites. Now, I'm not sure if Cal is playing Evil Elemental Uprising in the main. I imagine if it's in the sideboard, it probably comes in here in the game too. Cal just deciding whether he wants to do during anything in the upkeep. Says no, that's fine. Just going to go ahead and move on. So Cal's at risk here in terms of he can't really call Stone for Gill, and he can't swing in with Gill. Sure, at this moment he could kill the blocker, but one, there's also having the option for Protection of the Angels here to pump up and just block and kill the Gill. especially seeing that there's a mana transmuter on board. That's a lot of commitment with something, a barrier that he has to then try to pump up Gil to survive. He also can't stall later. They will be rewatchable. It will probably still have the hiccups, unfortunately, but it will be uploadable. So Andrew doing a really good job here and kind of just a little bit kind of pincering Cal into kind of a back hole. Seeing a 200 IQ come down here. Definitely a card that we don't normally see. It's a new card, right? So we haven't seen this in a while. It's recycling. We're working to recycle a spell from the graveyard. It's not Awaken, but he just gets to put a chant back from hand. It looks like we saw a Spiritual Guidance. We do have a Winds of Vitality up. Kind of looking, seeing what he wants to do here. The Winds of Vitality is nice, because it potentially saves him from dealing with the, it saves him from the potential protection of the Seraph's play, or protection of the Angel's play. But if there's two, then we're in real bad shape. And at this point in time, with where the game is, if Cal loses this skill, it's probably game. End of turn, we're going to go ahead and he's going to try for it. We're going to sacrifice the altar to discarding to hand size. And there's the Lorite to stop it. So yeah, good save there. At least kind of refreshes things a little bit for Cal. Kind of takes back some of the advantage that Andrew's been playing here. Stopping that free 3-drop. It'd probably be another Astema for a drain and gain. At that point in time, we do see another altar come down here, but again, we've already stopped one, so Andrew has to kind of recommit to investing in stuff at this point, which is not terrible. We're going to go ahead and just see the altar. The Layla gets sacrificed to the altar, go get a stone. The question is Andrew playing an Ozuki? Because we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stones. So one more stone and we have a 2020 Ozuki, which is definitely something that he could grab with this altar. We're going to go ahead and see Athenia come into play. So putting in some powerhouse work here, especially with the altar, being able to steal a lot. Cal's getting into a position where he's going to start losing a lot of his advantage. Like the advantage that he had or was maintaining is going to get stolen from him very, very quickly, especially since there's a Gene on board, so we can't really call more stones. And we have altar with the Athenia. So it's going to swing in here for another 7. Cal has to take it. Can't afford to let that Gil take those -1/-1 counters, because then at that point in time, even like Messenger of the Sun and Mana Transmuter can swing in pretty safely and just kill him. So we're in upkeep here. Cal trying to decide kind of what he wants to do, if anything, before upkeep. He does have that 5th element in hand. Using it now, though, could potentially backfire because he'd be tapping himself out when there's an altar on board, so he kind of always choosing to search, it looks like. Hey, Brandon Bremont, joining us, everybody. Good to have you, bud. Just streaming some Gil versus Black-White Brunhild. Again, guys, we're looking to try to get 10 new alumni members during this stream today, 5 rounds. Potentially a cut to top 8 that we do today as well. So if you like joining us, get access to those perks. It's only $2 a month minimum. We're hoping to get 10 at $5 a month just to really support the channel and what we're doing here. So yeah, Cal kind of constantly has to leave that one wheel open, because if he doesn't, he opens up Andrew to be able to play the altar pretty safely during that moment. And that's really not great for Cal at all, especially since we could potentially get a second Gene if there is one in the deck. And if we get to 3 Genes for Andrew, Gil doesn't have a way to stop triple gene, like at least the way it is now, and seeing that there's no white stone in the stone deck for Cal. All we have access to is fifth element and stuff that damages, or potentially if he's playing Ruin Story, stuff to banish, but I don't think he's playing Ruin Story in this form. So those triple gene would just sit there and never leave the board unless Andrew wanted them to, and at that point in time, Cal's pretty much hosed. But right now, the Athenia is also putting in some interesting work because it can kind of, it can do these tap effects. We're going to see Gil swing in for 17 because it got pumps during the upkeep. It can't be an Ultra Awakening here. Seeing if there's a banish. He's just taking it. He's just taking 17. Takes him down to 20. I imagine maybe Cal has some kind of play to kind of take advantage of this attack. Oh, no, we are going to see the block. Arrival of the hero. To shoot it out of the way. Is this just lethal? Cal potentially. So if Cal has Ultra Awakening here, Ultra Awakening for lethal, we try to, we paid 3 life. Spear the Valkyrie. So he's down to 17. Oh, he hasn't taken the damage yet. So he's down to 37, down to 34. He's going to try to Spear of the Valkyrie his, oh, and then he could just go concede to the scoop up. So, yeah, it looks like the Ultra Awakening play is going to come through, stopping the Spear of the Valkyrie, and then taking him down to 4th to that full damage, 3,700 damage in one swing off the Gil. So, Cal doing a really interesting, good job there of kind of playing around things about this back advantage and kind of sneaking in his way to just chip through that damage all through once. And so we're going to move on to game 2, looking at potential sideboards in this scenario. I would imagine that hopefully Cal is playing the white package to be able to, and a white stone to be able to grab the Sealing the Gate of Darkness to be able to deal with those genes now that we've seen them. That would be my idea. The question is whether or not Cal is playing any stones in the sideboard. Looks like he does have one stone kind of set aside, so it looks like we are probably going to see that white stone come in and some Sealing the Gates of Darkness. It's a really good card in this matchup. It's also really nice to do in the early game. To remove a Layla potentially before, like in response to them casting an altar, you just remove the Layla, so then their Layla's dead. That's a play line. Yeah, I don't really know. Cal knows how to OTK after playing IU for so long. It definitely does seem to be the case. Just say, you know what, you're either alive or you're dead. It does seem to be the case here for Cal. So yeah, Sealing the Gates of Darkness being a potentially really good meta call here. The gene play I think was really solid for Andrew. I just don't think I would have attacked with it. I think you were pretty safe to just let it sit. And just tell Gil that he just can't swing or anything else like that. I think Andrew was just kind of saying, like, I have enough stuff. I have some protection here. I don't necessarily need to worry about leaving up the gene. Or maybe he thought that Cal wouldn't try to risk it for the biscuit, and push through for that 3,700. He only needed to do 34, actually, because of the paying from Mana Transmuter, but it just didn't quite work out. Charlie, can you verify that Cal did win game 1 for me? Yeah. Pretty sure. Okay, sweet. I thought so, but I can't hear them, so thanks. Let's get some, let's see, where are my members at? Let's get some FoW cheers. Let's get some Prissias going for Cal. Prissia's going in the chat here for our buddy Cal for pulling it out there. From what I have heard, that would be the other play, too. Chase is that he could have saved saved from that play by letting the cancel hit, then sacking his Resonators and go grabbing Asthma. I think, yeah, you're right that he could have potentially done that. Maybe just Andrew knew that he didn't have any more Asthmas in deck or something else like that. Brunhild is really difficult against Gil with 200 IQs. Yeah, the 200 IQ is definitely a new addition to the deck, and I really like it. Yeah, let's get that train going. Cheers in the chat. I actually really like that addition to it. He did play the draw 8 gain 8 draw card. He did play that while having Messenger of the Sun on the board. But he was also paying life to the mana transmuter, so that kind of whittled him down a little bit too. Plenty of time still here, though, in Game 2. So we'll see kind of how it goes. Since we are playing 60-minute rounds today, we're going to do 5 rounds, just in case everybody wasn't aware of that. I do like to give a huge shout out. You probably see we have this nice little moving background here on the side. And I'm really, really excited about this. This is just a new little addition to the stream with a huge thanks to Richard Reel from the community. He made these little movement scenes for us. Just makes something a little bit more dynamic, so adds a little bit more pop to the screen. Unfortunately, because of the internet situation here, we didn't get the live life total updating like we wanted. So I am doing that just by watching. So I apologize if we're ever off. I'm trying to verify as much as possible. Yeah, that is something we will be implementing for future GPs. Also, stay tuned after this match because I have a really exciting announcement about an event that you're really going to want to come to. So let's go ahead and jump in here to Game 2. Yeah, Stone Destruction meta definitely is not something that IU wants to play into, especially with how frequent it is. Oof. Right off the top, we see that Evil Elemental Uprising. We're going to see a Layla turn 1, just really getting the start. Oh, we're going to see the same play. Just let's just do a repeat with this blue leaf play. We're going to bounce the Layla back to hand. We're going to burn it, energize, use Absolute Awareness to get a basic. And he's like, wait a minute. No, hold on. I know better this time. I'm going to grab that white stone. So, yeah, we definitely are going to see some Sealing the Gates of Darkness coming here for this next match, or for this next game, which I think is absolutely the right play. We do have to remember to burn the Energize Cal. But Blue Leaf bouncing and then getting immediately removed. So down comes the Layla, and we're going to see a Freed from the altar as well, same turn. So already taken himself down to 34 or 36. I wonder what he grabbed. I missed what he grabbed off. Oh, just grabbing the Gene now while he has the chance. I don't know why you would do that, seeing the white stone. Maybe the thought is that if you, well, you can kind of get around it by having an altar on the play to at least get the Gene back to graveyard, but it still seems a little weird. Leaf Paladin finally hitting the mark here in Game 2. Suddenly filling up the hand really, really hard for Cal. Does have an extra copy of all 4. The next major event post new set will actually be the event that I'm going to be talking about here at Gunplug Loat here in a little bit after this match. It hasn't, we haven't announced it quite yet, but we're going to be announcing it here in a little bit. We're going to go ahead and pitch White Leaf, gain 600 life, go up to 46. Yeah, post sideboard Gil. Cal runs 3 blue leaves. That's quite a big package to be able to bounce all these 1-drops. Get rid of the Laylas. Do see the mana transmuter coming down on Andrew, not having an altar here. This is definitely going to be something besides the Grim Flashback event. You're definitely going to want to travel to it. and it is going to be New Frontiers. So going into Cal's turn, we're just going to call Stone and swing in with Leaf Paladin, getting in there for 5 damage, take him down to 31. And then we're going to follow it up with an Absolute Awareness to continue the ramp train, saying, okay, if you're not going to play altars, if you're not going to ramp, I'm going to use my easy access ramp and leave up 3 will to be able to do what I need on my turn. Or on your turn. Using the white to bounce the Layla with blue leaf. Not really sure how I feel about that play. I probably would have preferred to leave the white open. Maybe the idea is he wants the double green, potentially for a vanish. I'll try to get a ruler breakdown here as soon as we have one from all the deck lists and stuff. And we'll get that to you probably by round 2 at the latest. Andrew really looking at what he wants to do here. Does have access to the Astema coming down here. Just going to go ahead and drain him. Go down to 41. Oh, sorry. It gets banished. It doesn't even successfully resolve. Is this the breakdown? Sweet, thank you. I do have the ruler breakdown. This is nice. I will give the ruler breakdown here in just a little bit once we finish this match. We're going to go ahead and use the mana transmuter to kill the Leaf Paladin. Let's at least get it off the board while we can. And now we're tapped out with a Layla, but no way to sack it, which gives Cal a lot of room to play on this turn. No Pandora, we riot. We're going to go ahead and see the judgment here. We've got the 3 total floating will because we banished before and we banished after. Suddenly Gil just ready to rock. We're going to go searching. Probably seeing a spiritual guidance get cast here. It is probably the most common play off of a flip. Yeah, we're just going to cast it. We'll drain, we'll pay some life, or draw some cards and gain some life. So drawing 2 cards. How much gain, Cal? Thank you. 8 cards in hand, going up to 5,400. So pretty big life swing here. And I will also mention that Andrew is technically right now, just from that damage that he's done to himself, in Ultra Awakening range. So potentially, I mean, if Andrew can't establish something pretty quick, we're going to be in, he's going to be in pretty bad shape, especially if he loses that, if he loses this mana transmuter here for any reason, or has to burn a protection of the angels to save it and doesn't have a protection for the following turn, Cal potentially just has enough will to be able to say, okay, cool, we're done. We're just gonna Ultra Awakening crack you in the face for 31, and then we're gonna move on. White leaf gain, so up to 6,000 even. I imagine this potentially gets canceled, but this is a card from here. The question becomes, does he search for a vanish to be able to stop it? And I think in this position, with knowing where Cal is, he probably has to. Just to be able to cancel it. Because that is a card that's going to give Cal a lot of problems in terms of being able to crack through for lethal. Because you can't Fifth Element it, you can't Sealing the Gates of Darkness it, you can't Arrival of the Hero. It's just a free floating blocker that potentially gets big enough very easily to